decades that followed. Speculation surrounding what the product might.
Is this capturing my mic? Yep, it sure is. So we're gonna go ahead real quick. Launch Unturned, hold on. I'm gonna be playing on PEI just because all the other maps are way too big and it's hard to get around in them. And on normal mode, just to put that out there.
Might have been also stirred in the many years since the announcement, with hypotheses ranging from an early version of 4G LTE network to a mere publicity stunt. However, during the relocation of the Pegasus Innovations R&D laboratory from Boston to the secretary of the CEO at the time, who was tasked with transporting items from the archive vault to the new lab space and was also a member of the Minerva Alliance, discovered a strange VHS tape in the vault that appeared to have not been touched in decades, and snuck it out of the vault to watch at her home. Upon viewing the tape's contents, she immediately turned over the footage to the Alliance for review. It appears that this tape was a sales reel from the unreleased Pegasus product from the mid-1990s, as well as hinting at a reason why the product had been suddenly shelved without warning. Interesting. Let's try and figure out what this cheekily named Neuralink is. We get a warning saying that this video contains restricted information on an upcoming Pegasus release and that it's meant to be viewed by employees only. That if you share any of this, you'll get the boot and get taken to court.
Okay, give me a second while I try to make sure that you guys aren't going to be picking up my stuff here. Okay, it is picking up the audio then. Let me turn my video back on.
From the following text, we gathered that the Neuralink is tied to personal communication, just like the description provided. Not only that, they say that while everyone is trying to make phones more compact, Pegasus is going to revolutionize long-distance communications. The Neuralink combines neuroscience and quantum physics through a technique called quantum telepathy. This video is a presentation, explanation, and guide for the Neuralink device. Most modern communication technologies use electromagnetic waves to transmit information from one location to another. These can be disrupted by environmental factors such as weather and distance. The quantum telepathy technique supposedly makes this issue obsolete, as it incurs no attenuation during the transmission process. The Neuralink electrodes access the user's brainwaves, sending their thoughts at a quantum level, making this form of communication literal telepathy, as the name suggests. But here we get a glitch, and for a split second, some of the text changes. Classic analog horror shenanigans.
We're never going to be able to get
Instead
that.
of saying to facilitate quantum telepathy, it now says to facilitate the mind melding. Great. You know it will only go downhill from here. This type of communication is instant and noise-free. We're now explaining how to use it. First, calibration of the Pegasus Neuralink must be performed in order to account for the user's brainwave activity. This helps the Neuralink system encode the correct thoughts to be transmitted to the receiver unit and ensures reliable performance of the system. But again, we get a glitch where the Neuralink gets swapped for gateway to ascension. And where it says that the thoughts will be transmitted to the receiver unit, it now says that they'll be transmitted to the collective. Once calibration is complete, the user places the Neuralink electrodes on their temples and dials the receiver's Pauli number to quantum synchronize the two units. The receiver unit will notify the recipient of an incoming call and can choose to accept or decline it. The latter functionality is identical to what happens in traditional calls. And again, glitch, and once calibration is complete, the user places the Neuralink electrodes on their temple and await further instructions from the digital Messiah of harmony. The receiver unit will notify the recipient when the Messiah has new commands for the collective. The latter functionality is important for sending mankind to the next order of existence. All other functionalities of the Pegasus Neuralink are identical to that of a traditional telephone. Users should keep the following in mind to ensure their safety while using the Neuralink. They shouldn't use it in a liquid environment for risk of shock or damage to the unit. They shouldn't drop it as it could break. They should store it in a cool location for use. Also, you should make sure that it holds at least a 20% battery charge to avoid damage when recharging. And any disassembly or repair has to be done by Pegasus technicians only. Further safety information can be found on the Pegasus Innovation website. But with another glitch, the instructions change. 1. Users should not resist the directives of the Messiah, for he is the one that will guide us through territory. 2. Users should overlook their individuality and act only in the best interest of the collective. This is how harmony is obtained. 3. The sacred gateway must be equipped at all times. The Messiah may need the collective's help at any moment. 4. Users should not worry about the integrity of the sacred gateway. It is able to withstand even the vilest of defilements. 5. Disassembly of the sacred gateway is strictly forbidden. It is wholly impure in the form it was made, and does not need any tuning outside what the Messiah orders. Further information can be obtained from the nearest lead acolyte of the equalizer. Lovely. And you just know for sure that this is going to be better technical support than anything Microsoft has ever offered. We get the last part of the presentation, future impact. They say that, although the technology is unprecedented, the Neuralink will dramatically accelerate the process of long-distance communications. We then get an important message.
Or they concern you and your future.
Do it all with Steel Battery. Power up with
These are
3 extra
4x3,
battery
so yeah,
deals
this
on
is better.
select Steel tools. Shop Steel deals happening now in store and online.
One day when I was out on a nice little walk, I saw the sign for AMH, and I went on the website and saw that it was really easy to get into a home without having to see a realtor. I had to go on my phone, and that's how we got here.
Your true purpose and potential have been obscured by the material world. Your senses cannot see beyond the here and now, and have limited you from the beginning. However, I am the light
Once
of
it's
the
below
light
50, it's always bad.
and seek to help you. Achieving your true calling requires you to connect to something higher than yourself. The sacred gateway will allow you to receive the guidance you have been searching for. I will help realize your full potential and allow you to lead a fulfilling life.
It's just grass under the
From
bed.
your eyes and see for yourself what the world has hidden from you. Your true
No,
purpose
that's not
and
good.
potential awaits you in the
Nice.
beyond of harmony and
We're gonna
prosperity.
do one shovel, and it's gonna be
Until we
cool.
next speak, may peace be upon you.
Alright, nice. So far we have a cursed child-sacrificing satanic tape and evil cultist Elon Musk trying to bring on the Singularity Evangelion style. I can only imagine what awaits us further down this path. Video 3. Unusual EAS alert on June 25th, 1999. Here we have a shorter one. We see an episode of Arthur playing, but it suddenly gets interrupted by an emergency weather alert. It warns the citizens from the counties of Cass, North Dakota, and Clay, Minnesota. A severe thunderstorm is coming. The alert is effective until 8:30 a.m. That's awfully specific. A robotic voice tells us that the storm is moving approximately at 45 miles per hour, which is very fast and would be categorized as a supercell. It'll reach Mapleton at 9 p.m., West Fargo at 9:06 p.m., etc. Which is pretty bad because this broadcast is issued at 8:51 p.m. if I got that right.
Take cover now. Get to a basement, storm cellar, or other underground shelter immediately. Close and lock the entrance to the shelter. If you are unable to find an underground shelter, attempt to hide in a deep ditch, storm drain, or the site which is as minimally exposed to the sky as possible. If you are in the car, evacuate from the Fargo area immediately, heading either north or south as directed by law enforcement. Do not leave your shelter or return to the Fargo area until the warning is lifted. No shelter above ground can protect you from the storm, regardless of its
Okay, so we
construction.
got 3.
So, hiding in a ditch during a storm doesn't really seem like an amazing idea, does it? And
This is
in
5 by
general,
3, so
underground
it's the same
shelters are
size,
always
just
at risk
different
of
shape.
flooding if there's lots of rain with the storm. Also, no overground shelter can protect you. This, given how late the warning is issued, obviously makes me and everyone in the comments think, this is no simple storm. Let's check the description. Documentation on recovered footage. Titled, Unusual EAS Alert on June 25th, 1999. Tape creator, resident of Moorhead, Minnesota. Date of origin, June 25th, 1999. Broadcast origin, National Weather Service in
Yeah,
Grand
but-
Forks, North Dakota. Recovery date, September 14th, 2015. Recovery location, yard sale in Lincoln, Nebraska. Additional
That's one I
information.
did already.
Tape
We're
containing the
here
above
now.
footage was found by Agent Paulite at a yard sale in Lincoln, Nebraska, as part of a routine yard sale check operation. The footage is of a home recording of Station 4 KLSE-TV, a national broadcasting network station local to Fargo, North Dakota, who was broadcasting a rerun of Arthur during the time the footage was
No,
recorded.
but it
During
does look
informal questioning of the
nice.
seller, they claimed the tapes being sold were blank and had not been used since their purchase. 9 VHS and 2 Betamax tapes were purchased from the yard sale, and of these, 3 VHS tapes and 1 Betamax tape were found to have content. The above footage came from one of the aforementioned VHS tapes. While the recording itself is not anomalous, the severe thunderstorm warning contained therein is suspected to have been associated with an anomalous weather event. The warning originated from the National Weather Service
Add to
office
the
in
phone.
Grand Forks, North Dakota, and was most likely broadcast from station WXK42 in Fargo, North Dakota. For brevity, only the portion of the recording containing the severe thunderstorm
double-check,
warning
make
has
sure
been
the
uploaded
stream's
here.
going
The unusual
here.
wording and duration of the featured
Always gotta
warning
double
suggests that
check.
a Type 4 supercell
And
had
I
formed at the
also
time of
want
the
to
broadcast.
select the
However,
stream,
radar
because
and
my
satellite imagery, as
computer
well as
can
records
never
of
do
warning
that
issued by the
on its own.
National Weather Service, show no evidence of this event occurring at the date and time indicated by the SAME codes. At the time of
Hey,
this
I
writing, no
released,
known reports of an accidental EAS activation or intentional
well,
broadcast
tried to
intrusion have been
release
found. Further
the
investigation
Minecraft
into this
mod.
event by
It
Minerva personnel
should
is
be
ongoing.
up
Updates on the
by
investigation will
tomorrow
be
at the
provided
latest.
as
It
information
depends on how
becomes
long
available.
CurseForge
So,
takes to
what are our
approve
running
it.
theories? Some say
I
nuclear
am probably
bomb,
going to
which
release
might
a
make
mod with
sense,
as well,
although if we suppose
but
that we're talking about our own reality, we
right
would
now
have
I'm
a
just using
record of a
CurseForge.
nuclear bomb being dropped. Others say it's hurricanes, but again, no mention of that in the warning, and again, they would have seen them coming a bit earlier, I assume. And more importantly, we're talking about North Dakota. A hurricane seems pretty impossible.
Though I know nothing about how they work, so you tell me if that's a thing.
And again, we would have a record of that. Once more, this is assuming it's our own reality. The warning could actually come from somewhere else, and that's why we wouldn't have any information on it. The other possibility is that we're dealing with some sort of eldritch phenomena that hit the area without actually leaving observable traces. Maybe somehow
aren't actually
warping
very fit to
reality
eat by
itself.
themselves,
Who
but
knows?
later
This one is
on,
great because it's
make
subtle
pie
and
and stuff
indirect.
out of 'em.
It allows people to speculate a lot by using only a few morsels of information. It also thankfully doesn't go for BS like,
It's always
To survive the storm, you need to avoid speaking in the past tense, gather 12 silver spoons, and get baptized, or the storm will take you.
or any other similar explicit weird stuff. Let's be more example. Obviously, the episode of Arthur playing in the background adds to the creepiness, because you could see yourself as a child coming across this message with no context while watching cartoons. Let's keep exploring.
Video 4. Tau Omicron Key Initiation Tape.
This one is great for me because of how visual it is. You'll see what I mean immediately. We get a title card.
Welcome, initiates. You're almost ready to become sisters in the oldest and most exclusive sorority in the history of the United States.
So, you already see why this is terrifying. Sororities. Ugh. Before getting in though, you have to complete an initiation rite, which is what this tape is about. It starts with an oath that you have to recite.
Raise your right hand up, palm outward, and recite the following aloud. I, Mulder, take this oath of initiation to demonstrate my acceptance of and honor for the ideals held by the sisterhood of Tau Omicron Key, and to demonstrate my acceptance of all of the benefits and responsibilities associated with my membership in the sisterhood.
Skipping a few lines,
I pledge to consume the elixir of sisterhood, which will demonstrate my loyalty and commitment to the mission of the sisterhood, and to make my fellow sisters aware of this. Most importantly, I pledge my time and my resources to ensure the continued presence of the sisterhood, and to ensure her customs and beliefs remain in place in the decades to come. In the name of the eternal sisterhood, I swear the above.
we'll now get instructions on how to prepare this elixir of sisterhood, which is to be drunk in the third part of the initiation.
Pour 40 milliliters of vodka into the glass. This represents the spirit of sisterhood.
Okay, get your memes out of your systems.
2 shots of vodka.
Also, the first time I genuinely laughed out loud because I was expecting something different and spooky, and instead it's just old regular vodka.
Step 2. Pour 140 milliliters of fruit punch into the glass. This represents the richness of sisterhood. Step 3. Pour 70 milliliters of ginger ale into the glass. This represents the passion of sisterhood.
And again, I was howling at the idea of these girls just preparing vodka party punch and being like,
We're so esoteric.
it seems totally like real sorority behavior.
Step 4. You stir them all, and this represents the unification of the 3 virtues of sisterhood. Step 5. Bow your head and speak the following aloud. Sister on high, may the following actions be proof of our unwavering commitment to you and to the sisterhood. Step 6. Cut your hand with the knife provided and put 3 drops of blood into the glass. This represents the blood of sisterhood.
And there you have it. We were all waiting for this. You knew it, I knew it. Moving on.
Step 7. Put 3 drops of blood into your neighboring sister's glasses. This represents the blood bond you will share with your fellow sisters.
Yeah, and get hepatitis.
Step 8. Using the provided syringe, obtain 5 milliliters of fluid from the vessel of life in the center of the table.
What?
Step 9. Inject 5 milliliters of life essence into the glass. This represents the eternity of the sisterhood. Step 10. Allow all ingredients to settle. You will consume this mixture in a few moments. Consume the elixir of sisterhood and watch the screen. Do not look away from the screen.
As we get again a bunch of fast-changing text that says, we siphon the ichor of youth, so we can discover the truth of what our full potential is and why we could not achieve this. Nature itself is a burden on our lives already broken by the cold, cruel world around us. To overcome all this, we must. Our ancient practices permit us to make time itself submit to our will, to our desire, for us to never expire. Rejuvenation is the key to our ultimate destiny. Eternal youth will set us free from natural powers that be. Youth is only for the worthy, those who prize it like a trophy, and who do not believe this fact cannot be insisted pact. Our existence is forbidden by those who want the truth hidden. In the decades since our founding, the hunt for us never ending. The sisters brought in our midst swear to abide by all of this. Serve the flock at any and all costs, else all we have worked for is lost. The sister on high is our guide. By her vast wisdom we abide. From her come the fruits of knowledge that we use to our advantage. Youthful forms pervert nature, and thus are anything but pure. But eternal youth is the light that keeps our futures shining bright. Obey our sister on high's decrees. Through her, all our goals can be achieved. In the name of the sisterhood, praise unto her. And we get this lovely image with the Latin phrase, sub dextro veniens, which means something like, under the right it comes.
If you have any questions, contact your chapter's high priestess for more information.
Your chapter? Great. That means there's more than one.
Girls will be girls.
So let's read the description for added context.
Tape creator, Tau Omicron Chi, non-Pan-Hellenic social sorority. Date of origin, unknown, mid-1990s suspected. Location of origin, unknown. Recovery date, November 13th, 2019. Recovery location, Tau Omicron Chi, Beta Tau Chapter House, Cypress Valley College, Virginia. Additional information. On November 11th, 2019, the entirety of the Beta Tau chapter of the Tau Omicron Chi sorority seemingly vanished overnight, with no indication of where they vanished to or why they vanished to begin with. While no evidence recovered from the chapter house could indicate where the former Tau Omicron Chi sisters may have vanished to, evidence recovered from the scene does link them to anomalous activities they might have been practicing for some time prior to their disappearance. Specifically, recruitment brochures and an initiation video featured above, recovered from a hidden storage room in the chapter house, are the strongest pieces of evidence supporting their potential involvement in anomalous activities. Analysis of college and chapter records, as well as informal interviews conducted with students at the faculty of Cypress Valley's campus about the sorority, have yielded additional information of interest to Minerva agents. One student interviewed stated that the sorority was notorious for throwing the wildest and loudest parties on campus, and almost had their charter removed due to excessive noise and alcohol violations. Many of the students interviewed by Minerva agents have strangely said that most, if not all, of the Tau Omicron Chi sisters were extremely attractive and had very youthful skin, even for undergraduate college students. Furthermore, analysis of the chapter's recruitment records show that the chapter has attempted to recruit an abnormally high number of biology and pre-med students over the past 30 years. Potential reasons for this are being investigated.
Again, I like how simple this is and how it mostly plays with the implications. We're obviously dealing with some sort of witch coven that performs blood rituals to preserve their eternal youth. The symbols that appear, at least the ones I can place, also strongly imply witchcraft. It's interesting how they've disappeared though. Maybe they've ascended to the next step? Who knows? I'm noticing so far a concrete presence of these higher beings in the videos. Like the Messiah of Harmony, the Fallen One, and now the Sister on High. It's quite interesting, and if we actually take these videos as being connected by the same universe, it's as if different higher and demonic entities are basically all toying with humanity in their specific ways, which, again, reminds me a lot of the Magnus Archives. Let us continue.
Video 5. Madame Claire, the Psychic Savant.
I'll tell you outright that this is my favorite one. And what do you know?
Didn't look like it gave me anything.
It's another broadcast distributed by the Little Sisters Entertainment Company, just like Mr. Noel's game show. But before we get into it, let's read the description because it's quite intriguing.
Documentation on recovered footage. Title: Madame Claire, the Psychic Savant. Tape creator: Little Sisters Entertainment Incorporated. Date of origin unclear. Sometimes in the 80s for the tape and 1932 for the original film reel. Location of origin unknown. Recovery date December 3rd, 2019. Recovery location local video rental store in Redacted, Maine. Additional information. Rumors of a disturbing fortune teller video for children had circulated in the area since the early 1980s, but no actual video fitting this description had surfaced in the area for years since the rumors first started. However, Agent Peregrine, an off-duty Minerva agent, was shopping for a movie rental at a local video rental store when another customer burst through the entrance and hastily returned a cassette tape saying it needed to be destroyed immediately. Before running out into the night, the agent rented this tape along with their original rentals and reviewed the tape's footage the following day. Upon review of the footage, Agent Peregrine immediately alerted the Erie Command response team to this station for emergency containment of the videotape. A review conducted by the Erie Command audiovisual specialist has deemed the video to be a Monarch-class temporal anomaly, and Erie Command has declared that this footage is to be viewed with extreme caution. While no major ill effects should result from viewing this footage, it is recommended that the targeted memory wipe treatment be followed after viewing the footage to reduce the likelihood of a causal loop being created in our timeline. Contingency plans to reduce a timeline derailment scenario to prevent the events shown on the tape from occurring are currently in development at this time.
This one seems to lean heavily into the SCP aspect of the project, especially with the mention of memory wiping. So let's see what all of this time anomaly stuff is about. We get the title card, and immediately after, a slow zoom towards a crystal ball on a table in the dark. Here we see the titular Madame Claire, who is actually voiced, which is always great to hear.
Why, I am Nat Claire, and welcome to my 10th fortune.
She tells us that she's been traveling the country and telling the fortune of ordinary people like us and the richest and most powerful men alike. Now we can witness her abilities. We start first of all with the horoscope. I'm not going to read all of them, but here's the first one to give you an example.
Your energy and confidence will be on full display today. You might also be more adventurous and take on that daunting task that you've been putting off for a while. However, be extra wary, as your drive to get ahead in work may affect your relationships with those close to you, and they might not be around for as long as you think.
So, outside of the typical generic horoscope babble, if we read them all, we notice a peculiar pattern in their last sentences.
Taurus, some unexpected events may occur in the future, and you'll need everything you've saved up on to get through them. Gemini, consider taking advantage of your connections now, as they may vanish at a moment's notice. Cancer, take the time to show how much you care for everyone close to you, as things may not stay the same for you all for too much longer.
And so on and so forth. All of them end with a foreboding sentence telling us that something pretty bad might happen soon enough. The second part is a tarot card reading. The first card is the Sun.
Your past, while it had your fair share of hardships, was filled with enough joy and encouragement to help you get to where you are today.
Then we get the Wheel of Fortune.
Whether your current life is thriving like never before or struggling to hang on, a major turn of events is coming to change your daily routine.
And finally we get the Tower.
Unfortunately, this turn of events will bring about more obstacles and challenges in the near future. Prepare yourself in advance to get through them as painlessly as possible.
So, here we go again with the foreboding talk. One interesting aspect to think about here is also the fact that normally tarot cards are used to tell a specific person's fortune, from what I understand.
I actually know nothing about how they're supposed to work, that's just how I've always seen them used.
But the fact that this is a broadcast directed towards a general audience implies that what the cards are telling us will affect everyone. This obviously makes sense with the previous segment having all the horoscopes ending negatively. So, then we get to the last segment, the juicy one, to which Madame Claire herself says that it's her favorite part.
My love is not yet complete, however, since I will now take this information that we've gathered about you and use them to help predict the major events that will take place in your future. This is always my favorite part, so be sure to hang on to your seats as we look into the crystal ball one last time.
For For this part, keep in mind that the show supposedly aired in 1982. It's all told in a mysterious and indirect way, but I'm going to explain what each event references. To the people in the comments who filled the gaps for me.
1. Steel clouds will move over the Vistula, commencing an outbreak of chaos all around the globe.
So, the Vistula is a Polish river, and this is obviously referencing the start of World War II with Germany's invasion of Poland.
In the fight against a sweeping ideology, a fruitless effort by a world power will commence in the jungle.
And this is in reference to communism and the Vietnam War.
An invisible yet deadly fire will rage in the motherland, and will continue to rage for eons after its birth.
This is obviously a reference to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
Fighting for a better life, many will wither in speaking out against the leaders in the land of the Yangtze.
Again, it's a pretty easy one, referencing the Tiananmen Square massacre.
4 steel beasts will plunge into the heart of freedom, ending an era of peace and fearlessness.
Obviously a reference to 9/11.
The earth will tremble and send terrible waves over the land, with many vanishing away in its wake.
And this one seems to reference the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and subsequent tsunami.
In the land of the rising sun, Poseidon will creep in and ignite a fire similar to one from decades prior.
This one is about the Fukushima disaster.
An alliterative yet deadly storm will descend on a large gulf, bringing widespread destruction with it.
And I agree with Free Willy-Nilly in the comments who says this is Hurricane Harvey because of the alliterative part. This is where the images get much quicker and the events are harder to pinpoint.
A streak of fire from the heavens will cripple the globe in an era of machine supremacy.
This one might be referencing a particularly bad solar flare that could deactivate technology across the world, which hasn't happened yet, at least not on such a disastrous scale, but it is a real phenomenon.
An attempt to cut off the Hydra of Freedom's head goes awry, the assassins condemned to death.
And at first I thought this was referencing JFK and Oswald, but so far the dates of the events have been only going forward. So again, this might be about something that has yet to happen. And as we've seen in recent events, is also not that far-fetched.
A vast yet frozen land will tear itself asunder over the essentials of life and the struggle for freedom.
This might be a reference of a possible conflict in Alaska or Russia for the extraction of natural resources.
Birds of prey carrying on Prometheus's legacy will be smothered by the ignorant and brash.
So this one is really interesting. It probably references the Minerva Alliance itself, seeing as their logo is an owl, a bird of prey, and they're trying to show people the hidden truth of the world, like Prometheus did in Greek mythology.
Being destroyed by non-believers.
I'm not sure who they're supposed to be, but it's probably either governments or the people themselves watching these uploads.
Ethereal trade will be shut down by the Achilles heel of the very medium itself.
Maybe referencing a massive failure of the stock market, maybe even cryptocurrency. The medium would be computers and the internet, I'm guessing, but I don't know what the Achilles heel would be.
A hostile northern brother will take over its southern sibling with extreme force.
Probably a forced reunification of Korea.
A forest with a rich and luscious ecosystem will meet a fiery demise only Hades can match.
Someone suggested could be implying that the Amazon rainforest will burn down.
A virulent pestilence will render the riches of the sea inedible by many on the earth.
A mass die-off of aquatic life. And slowly, the last one. All life on Earth perishes. We finally cut back to Madame, looking a bit different this time around, and speaking in a distorted voice. It's hard to tell what she's saying, but it seems like she's just ending the episode, signing off and telling us to come back again. So, a few thoughts. Many seem to think in the comments that the ending card with all life perishes and Claire looking now creepy and distorted is a bit much. It ruins the immersion. I get where they're coming from, and I agree to some extent. But for me, it's more about how it's done. Seeing as all of these are more or less self-contained episodes, I don't mind having them go a bit into the explicit horror imagery and atmosphere. And the way it's been done so far has been cool and stylish enough in my opinion, so I'm not gonna complain. I do get the immersion thing, but for me that's not really an issue, seeing as I already know it's a horror project on a YouTube horror channel. It's much more important something like The Forbidden Files.
By the way, check out the video please, okay? Love you.
Where the footage looks so authentic that it can make you question its origins. What's more interesting to me is the way that this little piece can make you think much deeper about its concept. If we look at many of the famous prophets in history, many will look at what they've said and be like,
see, they predicted it.
And that's obviously bull, because what they've said is generic enough to be applied to the right occasion. A broken clock being right twice a day kind of thing. What's fun here is that I found myself doing the same with Madame Claire's last predictions, before realizing that they weren't referencing events that have already happened. I mean, the world is so crazy even right now, but when we put everything in perspective, none of the made-up things here seem that far-fetched. And we've definitely seen similar stuff happen, so yeah, the psychological part of this, so to speak, works quite well if you ask me. So, the next few uploads are actually all audio logs from the same missing persons case. I won't cover these ones because I don't want to break up the pacing of the video too much, but also because I agree with what many of the comments say. The protagonist sounds way too much like he's reading a script instead of freely talking and making audio logs.
Oh, there it is. Hello, my name is Tommy Parsons, and I just got started on a 4-day backpacking trip on the Pinewood Trail. Tell me process and work through some things before heading out to college in the fall. I'm recording this because I wanted to have something to help me remember the experiences I'll have on this trip.
It pretty much sounds like that time that Iceberg Boy decided to act, as he called it, on Creepcast.
It just kinda makes me cringe a little bit. The story itself is actually interesting though, so if you wanna check it out and what I've mentioned doesn't bother you, go ahead.
Video 6. Unusual Ad Council PSA, June 3rd, 1998.
This one's very short and my least favorite from the series, so I'm not gonna go too in depth. Basically, it's, as the title suggests, a PSA, in which a voice tells us that across America people get together to share life's most treasured moments, but that there's a small but powerful menace that can bring all to an end. And it shows us this. The only thing that we can do is spend time with those we care about, because we never know how much we have left and when it will happen. And we're shown this badly edited picture of a man sitting in a chair, covered in growths. I don't know who this is. If you do, please let me know. The description doesn't tell us much that we don't already know.
Tape creator, resident of Huntington, West Virginia. Date of origin, June 3rd, 1998. Location of origin, residence of in Huntington, West Virginia. Recovery date, July 17, 2004. Recovery location, at a Goodwill donation center in Huntington, West Virginia. Additional information. While recording an episode of Hollywood Tonight on the evening of June 3rd, 1998, a resident of Huntington, West Virginia recorded an ad council PSA that people who claim to have seen said was extremely distressing and disturbing, and usually so for the ad council. The above PSA warns of an unidentified parasitic organism that is, given the language used by the PSA, very commonplace and guaranteed to be fatal should the organism activate in the human body. The video's narration states that the viewers should spend time with their loved ones as much as possible before this organism metamorphosizes, but at no point elaborates on what the organism is, what its infection vectors are, or how long it takes for the supposed metamorphosis to occur in humans. At the conclusion of the PSA, many viewers called the ad council demanding answers regarding what the PSA was referencing, and that the PSA be pulled from the air, citing that the PSA induced mass panic in the Huntington area and could cause disruptions to the daily lives for the residents there. The ad council denied any knowledge of having created this particular PSA and publicly dismissed it as a malicious hoax. However, it is interesting to note that the PSA has not aired at any point since the evening of June 3rd, 1998, and has fell out of the public memory in years since. Upon further investigation, no additional information on the parasitic organism shown in the PSA was discovered, and no public record of the Center of Special Ailments was found to exist. It is suspected that the CSA is linked to the United States Department of Anomalies, but this connection remains tentative at this time.
So, I like this same concept, even though it's very brief. But a badly photoshopped image really took me out of it, if I gotta be honest. What makes it worse is that this was made by Remy Abode, the person behind Gemini Home Entertainment, a series that I love, so this was kind of disappointing to me. I don't know, maybe I just don't get it.
Video 7. Quaking and Shaking. Earthquake Safety Reel.
Now we have another pretty cool one, in my opinion, very classically analog horror. The title is pretty explicative. The tape has been made by the California Seismic Safety Commission and is meant to teach us how to protect ourselves and family from earthquakes, seeing as earthquakes are a common occurrence in California and can potentially be very destructive. What could be strange about this? We first get an explanation of what an earthquake is, which I'm going to skip because it's kinda boring. Listen, if there's any seismologists out there sitting right now, I'm sorry. I think most of us know what an earthquake is. We then get a list of possible earthquake causes outside of tectonic plates shifting. These include
landslides, mining blasts, nuclear tests,
and... I'm sorry, what was that? Can we roll it back? Oh, subterranean creatures, got it. We're then explaining how earthquakes are measured. Again, the details are cool, but I'm just gonna skip a bit forward. We then get to the protection measures. These ones are for when we are indoors and an earthquake happens.
Step 1. Drop to your knees to make yourself a smaller target for any object that may fall. Step 2. Take cover beneath a desk or table to shield yourself from falling objects. If none are available, cover your neck with your arms near an interior wall. Step 3. Hold on to the desk or table you're sheltered under and be prepared to move with your shelter. Step 4. Remain silent. No matter what you might see or hear,
They will know where you are if you don't.
it is normal to experience feelings of fear and anxiety while burrower worms are hunting for food. However, silence is your best defense for both you and those around you, and will make you less likely to become their prey.
And then we see this. We get some thanks, and
Any questions about any topic you've seen today can be directed to your presenter or the nearest Seismic Safety Commission office.
yeah, I have several questions. But before that, let's check the description.
Date of origin 69, and recovery date June 29th, 2020. Recovery location classroom in an abandoned schoolhouse in Windy Sands, California. Additional information. While en route to an unrelated task further upstate, Agent Sparrow drove through the abandoned town of Windy Sands, California, and would have gone through the town without a second glance had they not discovered mysterious holes in and around the area. As the agent was a few hours ahead of schedule, they stopped to investigate and find any possible cause for these holes and why some of them seemed to align with damage observed on some of the town's structures. Most of the abandoned buildings did not contain any information that could explain the presence of these holes, and the agent decided to check the abandoned schoolhouse before resuming onward towards their original destination. It was here that the above film reel, along with a couple other film reels not found to have anomalous content, were found in a classroom and recovered. A comparison of the above footage with the footage from other quaking and shaken film reels found in other towns in California revealed that the above film reel has information absent from the other reels. And this extra information pertains to a unique thread experienced only by the former residents of Windy Sands. It isn't known what exactly these burrower worms are, how Windy Sands became their hunting ground, or how the California Seismic Safety Commission were aware of these creatures despite the town being fairly remote and sparsely populated at the time of the film reel's creation.
So this is literally just Tremors, right? Classic concept. Big giant worms hiding underground and coming up to get their fill. Not that much to say, except that the video itself is well made, and I love when, even with a limited budget or abilities, creators manage to insert, even for a split second, some kind of animation. It's short but sweet. Especially because for now, in the Minerva Alliance, we hadn't yet seen any explicit, so to speak, footage meant to be real. Also, earthquakes in general are terrifying, and for me, the imagery of giant mysterious holes in the ground is always effective. While watching Raised by Wolves, I couldn't stop thinking about those seemingly infinitely deep holes.
Insert holes jokes here.
Please HBO, bring the series back, you bastards. Let's move on to the next one.
Video 8. New Comstock's Community Choice 1997.
This one starts with an ad for
Dover's Family Restaurant, where our family is your family.
We're watching Valley 3 WNCS LP and find out that we're about to see a special programming. This broadcast is brought to us by the New Comstock City Council.
It's New Comstock's Day, and while the festivities are now over, the day's most important activity is only moments away, the annual New Comstock Community Choice event. People will have the chance to decide on the winner of this day's contests and on matters that will impact the town for the next year.
The program is meant for those that can't vote in person. Just grab your telephone, enter the number, and press the corresponding buttons to vote. It starts, and the music suddenly gets very foreboding.
Issue 1. Please indicate which establishment served the best dish at the cookout competition.
And obviously the aforementioned Dover's Family Restaurant wins.
Issue 2. Please indicate which art piece was the best in the Community Arts and Crafts Showcase.
And New Comstock, then and now, wins.
Issue 3. Please indicate which finalist performed the best in the Miss New Comstock beauty pageant.
And my girl Nicole gets the win.
Issue 4. Please select one candidate for the title of Bestower of Honor.
And my guy Richard gets the win. Lucky fella. I bet it's only because of that sick-ass restaurant he's got.
Issue 5. Please select one candidate for the title of Receiver of Honor.
Wait, there's a bestower and a receiver? Strange. And Jeff Gibson gets the win on this one.
Issue 6.
Please select one tool to sacrifice the receiver of honor with. Oh, it's one of those votings. Of course, Dagger wins. Can't beat the classics.
Issue 7.
Please select one organ to extract from the receiver of honor. And lungs get the win. Yay!
Issue 8.
Please select one of the receiver of honor's personal items to serve as an offering, and they pick the wedding band.
Issue 9.
Please indicate whether or not you accept Elazareth as the savior of our town and that he led us to prosperity. That 2% of people is probably Gibson himself and his family.
Issue 10.
Please indicate whether or not you will serve Elazareth in any way he desires you to from this point forward. We get a last look at the snowy trees with the writing,
Thank you for your participation.
"May Elazareth's blessing be upon you." And something appears. So we've got another cosmic deity preying on people. They seem to really be sticking to the theme. What does the description tell us?
The tape creator is a former resident of New Comstock, Tennessee. The date of origin of the tape is December 13, 1997. Location of origin is Valley 3 WNCS LP, a micro-broadcasting station. The recovery date is July 23, 2020. The recovery location is the house of a former New Comstock resident in... Additional information. Rumors of a prosperous yet isolated town in southern Tennessee have been floating around for decades. Although travelers in the area the town was said to exist do not recall driving through or otherwise seeing a town fitting this description. However, those that were driving through the same region around mid-December have recalled seeing strange greenish-yellow lights in the sky for 2 minutes before the lights vanished. But all are seemingly unable to recall any specific events that took place during that 2 minutes time interval. All leads followed by Minerva personnel to investigate the cause of these lights have gone cold over the years, until a resident of contacted Minerva personnel and informed them that she was a former resident of the long-rumored town and had some information she wanted to share in person. An interview with the former resident revealed that this supposed town actually exists under the name New Comstock, and that many of the rumors surrounding the town are in fact true. However, as access to the town is cleverly disguised and guarded constantly, outsiders who attempt to investigate in person have not been able to confirm or deny them. Although she could not provide any concrete reasons why, the town does not appear on any atlas, map, or satellite image, old or recent, despite the town being fairly sizable with about 1,770 people living in the town in 1997. The former resident states that the reason for the town's prosperity was tied to a yearly event, but was unwilling to elaborate on the subject, stating that even thinking about it brings up bad memories for her, and gave the agents a tape containing the above footage, stating that this should answer all your questions. The interview concluded shortly after. A proposal to use an eagle-eye drone to covertly investigate the area the town is supposedly located in is in the works at this time.
So, a pretty classic horror setup. A prosperous, mysterious town sacrifices people to some eldritch deity to keep its prosperity. But before we get to the last upload, this is where I'd like to talk for a moment about the good sides and the downsides of this being an anthology series of sorts. And also why I'd like for the project to come back and give us more, seeing as the last episode was 3 years ago. I really like the fact that these are different analog horror creators coming together and creating short morsels of horror in their own style, using their own concepts and visuals. And I also enjoy everything being tied together by this SCP-like organization, trying to archive and research all of these anomalous happenings. It makes the viewer's experience constantly varied and unpredictable. The problem is for me that while this does work well enough, with many of these shorts I keep thinking, damn, I wish there was more. Not because they're not cool on their own, but because the ideas they propose are actually intriguing, and I wish they were explored more. And that's where an actual series in the usual sense shines. We can get familiar with the world in which the action occurs, maybe even get to know some characters and actually care for what happens to them. The puzzle part of analog horror is always fun, and that's why I always tell you to check this stuff out before I spoil it and give you my theories. But in this case, it feels like a game with only one puzzle every time, and when you solve that, there's basically nothing else. It doesn't detract from the creator's work, and I know that making this type of video takes time. It's just that they probably have a greater chance of keeping people engaged if there's a more consistent through line, if they worked more on world building and lore. If we had gotten more subsequent parts of the same episodes in here, I think it would have taken an already good project to the next level. But those are just my own 2 cents, so you tell me. Much respect to anyone involved either way. With that out of the way, let's finish this.
Video 9. Boyd's Pest Control Employee Training Video.
I wanted to quickly point out how cool it is that most of these videos have their own little logos or title cards. It's a lovely detail and shows the care that went into this. So, pest control is pretty self-explanatory, and this tape introduces us to the most common pests that can be found in people's homes and how to deal with them. The first section is about supplies and equipment. In our control vehicle, we have rodent traps, toolboxes, and lighting equipment, including flashlights and black lights. We'll also have pesticides, cleaning agents, and an emergency container of gasoline. That's if we run out of fuel, right? Right? It's our responsibility as employees to make sure that the supplies are stocked and functioning. Then we see the common pests.
Carpenter ants, found in household wood, especially when moist.
Where's your playlist taking
Oh,
you?
it's
Down the highway? To the mountains?
reversed
Or
strafing.
just into daydream mode while you're stuck in traffic? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there to help you make the most of your getaway, wherever that is. Because the only thing better than a great playlist is a great trip. Life's the trip. Make the most of it at Best Western. Book direct and save at bestwestern.com.
Symptoms of infestation. Chewed wood in the home's interior, galleries running parallel to the wood grain.
And we get some more info on them, and that we should use to exterminate them.
Common rats, found typically in sheltered areas with food and water. Symptoms of infestation. Chew marks on packaged foodstuffs, droppings on or around foodstuffs.
And we should eliminate them by using the traps. So far, so good.
Black widow spiders, found in cobwebs in various corners of buildings. Symptoms of infestation. Presence of cobwebs in inhabited areas. While the bites of these spiders are venomous and potentially fatal, they can easily be removed using catch and release style methods. However, black widow spiders with yellow markings are to be left alone as they blast the house of the customer.
Wait, what the I didn't know black widows with yellow markings exist. That's crazy.
Shadow mantles, found in dark caves near bodies of water. Symptoms of infestation. Presence of black residue on surfaces, odd clicking sounds emanating from seemingly unoccupied rooms.
Alright. It kind of looks like some kind of gecko from the pictures.
While they are more rare than ants, mice, or termites, shadowmanders can be a challenge to remove due to their ability to disappear whenever too much visible light shines on their body. This ability serves as a camouflage for these creatures, and is unique in the animal kingdom. However, as these creatures are made visible by and do not react to UV radiation, black lights can be used to make shadowmanders visible, and can afterwards be captured using traditional animal removal techniques.
Then we get section 3, special pests, as if the last ones weren't special enough.
Disposal moth, found inside pipes and garbage disposals. Symptoms of infestation: frequent sink flooding, clogged pipes, abnormal sounds when disposal is turned on. Found within the plumbing of buildings, disposal moths can be difficult to remove depending on their location. However, if a disposal moth is located near the mouth of a sink, they can be carefully removed using a large pair of tongs to avoid bites and other injuries.
Lovely. Is this where the Californian worms come from? Somebody threw too much protein down the drain and turned the Mojave Desert into Arrakis.
Ectomole, found in houses occupied by the superstitious. Symptoms of infestation: apparitions appearing inside the house, objects moving on their own, fog on the lower levels of the house. Ectomold is a non-toxic variant of black mold that has been linked to various paranormal phenomena in houses they infest, ranging from mild poltergeist activity to demonic possession of residents. Ectomold must be removed immediately upon discovery and is done as follows. Quickly obtain the emergency gasoline can from your service vehicle, pour the contents of the can around the lower part of the ectomold infestation, ignite the gasoline from a safe distance, flee the house immediately after doing so. Call the on-duty Boyd's Pest Control Supervisor and inform them of the incident.
Ensure that the bodies of all occupants are charred beyond recognition.
Lovely. I like the connection to black mold here, which has been theorized sometimes as the cause of paranormal activity reports, as it can potentially make people hallucinate. So here we have a literal ghost mold that actually explains the activities as being a real thing. Let's check the description.
Documentation on recovered media. Title: Boyd's Pest Control Employee Training Video. Tape creator: Boyd's Pest Control, a small pest control chain. Date of origin: April 12, 1996. Location of origin: Boyd's Pest Control. Recovery date: May 26, 2020. Recovery location: basement of former Boyd's Pest Control location in. Additional information. Boyd's Pest Control was a fairly small pest extermination chain that primarily operated out of the Midwestern United States from the early 1980s through the early 2000s, with the chain ultimately going out of business due to poor financial management during the last few decades of the chain's operation. During the time of its operation, the company offered pest removal services for a wider range of common household pests such as termites, rats, and ants, to name a few. Those who contacted Boyd's for pest removal often regarded them as the best in the business, and had exceptional customer retention during the nearly 2 decades of their operation. Starting from around the late 80s and early 90s, rumors of the company dealing with unusual types of pests began to propagate in the communities Boyd's operates out of, although these were largely unsubstantiated and no proof was ever found supporting such claims. However, a number of customers did notice that the employees of Boyd's carried more equipment that they believed was necessary for a pest removal company, and also observed employees performing inspection routines seemingly unrelated to what they were originally called for. When pressed on all of these matters, employees simply stated it was standard operating procedure to ensure the best possible customer service and would not elaborate further on the matter. The Alliance is currently seeking interviews with former Boyd's pest control employees to obtain more information about the company's practices and the rumors of unusual pests. But all of those contacted thus far have either not replied or declined to be interviewed.
Again, pretty much in line with what we have seen up until now. A seemingly normal thing turns out to be spooky. But this fits with my previous observation. Even a simple thing like this pest control service could be turned into a cool mini-series, doing just a tiny bit more of world building and fleshing out the creatures they mention. Maybe adding newer ones or giving us some actual logs from service calls and stuff. It would be so cool to see, in my opinion. As it stands, this is the last upload on the Minerva Alliance channel. It has been probably shut down, which is a shame. I think it's mostly pretty high quality and shows a lot of passion. It's also weird that nobody has covered it yet, seeing as usually any English language analog horror projects get immediately picked apart by a bunch of channels. I hope this will make you check their channel out and maybe pester them in the comments to encourage them to come back. This whole SCP type setup usually works well for internet horror, so they might have a bit of a golden goose on their hands. For my part, I think I've already given most of my thoughts throughout the video. If you'd like me to hunt more lesser known projects that aren't foreign,
At least for English speakers.
tell me in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching and engaging with my stuff. I'm constantly amazed at how well my channel is doing, and I'll never stop saying it. With that said, goodbye and see you, Space Worms.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Super Nintendo World. Opens May 22nd at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to eat this. That one restores stamina. I'll hold on to it. Off to the post. Metal sheet, metal scrap. Construction helmet. Bar. Listen. 37. Nails. Then we get some purification tablets. Where'd the cough syrup go? I just picked it up. Okay. tons of suture kits. One of those. I think I am gonna salvage that ace. I don't think I'll be needing it. Alright. Barely scared here. Glad I got that dude. Three flashlights. Not amazing. There's inside the wall. Missing one. Get it back. I'm switching up my tractor. How much gas you got? 18's about the same. Well, let me actually see how much space this is. Let's do that fine. Close to 3 Okay, it's fine. Placement is quite strange. Did I pick up a fertilizer? I thought I did. Lost it. Oh no, it's the same size. We don't have antibiotics, that's good. I need a fire axe. Oh, it's a police motorcycle. It's a 6 soon, so that's oh, yes. I need 5 of those. I got if you were to start having to store them up, huh? That's what- Black. Oh yeah, that's nice. Space. No. There we go. Isn't that nice? That was an experience. don't know if I need a drink. Good. Okay. Let's see. Head to here. Be more careful. Or check something real quick. 7x4. And this is 4x1. 4x5. Yeah, we don't need that actually. Oh. Okay, let's hurry on to the next town. I need some medicine. Should have enough stuff for emergencies. I don't know why it has to be specifically 50% when it starts ticking down. So I have to remember to come back and check out these places. Here's hoping they have good health care. This thing wants to drift, huh? Should be able to get through the rest of these. Dude, I'm gonna have to head over to Stratford. Okay, let's just head straight to Stratford then. 37. Wow, it's not even this. Really? 44? Cobra site. Start with the tomatoes. I gotta overshoot it so much. Could have some stuff in it. The Confederation Bridge has some camps, some medical camps. Head over to Stratford first. Pretty sure they have a pharmacy. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty sure it's better than nothing. All these animals getting stuck inside buildings. Real drops of any interest. Morphine gives you infection damage. Adrenaline? Here we are. Over that 50, there we go. Makes me stabilized. Fixes bones. Oh, shoot. Oh. This is not very good. At least it's total experience. Brawler should be easy to take out. Only time. $19.11. Need 7 of them. It's scary. Okay, now where do we put base? I'm thinking around here, maybe. But first I gotta go back to arms. Well, this one first. Just are heading back down the road. Let's avoid this fast moving. I've got the skills. Got the skills. I just need to find a saw so I can start building stuff. So I don't get myself killed. Hold on. It's so quiet. Let me check chat. Black screen? Really? Oh, shoot. Oh well, you've been getting commentary, so there you go. Just a bunch of black screen commentary. It's fine. It's not like there's a whole lot that's happened. I almost died to an infection, and I just looted a bunch of stuff. This is still very early in any run. I haven't found a saw yet, so it's not like we can build anything. I'm very lucky to get what I've gotten so far. Because this is playing on like default everything. Default settings for everything. See, this is a sawmill farm. Oh, great use for my saw. Another canteen. Sure, why not? Actually, go ahead and place these on my thing. Got any other seeds on me? Tomato? Couple of them. I mean, this isn't actually going to do anything for me. But I might as well use it. Pick that up. This up. There's not even a saw here. Wrapped a saw? Oh, it's 2 sheets of metal. Need a blowtorch to make sheets of metal? No, I don't actually. Stuffed potato, that's rare. Okay, so we're gonna go over here, we're gonna unstack it. This stuff. I've been getting so much duct tape, I'm just gonna throw. Rope is also everywhere. Healing, crafting, outdoors, agriculture. This is a nice place for a base. What's that? Place me. Stack that. I don't know. got a total of 6. Okay. Six and there's 7. Oh, a metal crate, isn't that a thing? Wardrobe. No, wardrobe, yeah. Torture. Okay. This can stay here and we'll have Maple wardrobe. 5, 6, we got 2. 5. Right. I'm gonna be out of time. I told you I was trying to be productive, so I wasn't even playing, I was working.
Go on, goddamn fucking time. You understand? Time is 5 on.
Alright, that's all the time I have for today. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, all that.